Back in December, Rick Plumley gave a really great overview of the value of brand, but it was a very high-level thing. So today I wanted to take it very specific with just 10 quick tips to think about, to look at start of the year, kind of review what you have in terms of company name, logo, tagline, slogan, and response colors, images. 10 tips and ideas to review for your company to hopefully get you further on the path to consistency and developing your brand and building your brand identity. One thing I read yesterday, company A. Weber Company did a survey of 3,000 small businesses. 88% of them do not have a marketing professional. It is the CEO that does the marketing. So these are for you because I'm assuming that many of the people in this audience do not have a director of marketing or a marketing company to do their marketing for them. So very simple. Name. When you have your company name, you've got, of course, your legal name. But you also have your commonly used name, and you have your, I don't even know PortTech's legal name, South Bay Port Technologies Development
San Pedro Bay.
San Pedro
Port Technologies
Development Center.
Port.
Okay, whatever. Okay? Then we have our commonly used name, PortTech Los Angeles, and then we shorten it to PortTechLA. When you're thinking about your own company's name, think about how it sounds. Who's going to answer the phone? How are they going to answer the phone? How are you going to introduce yourself? If you find your company name that you're tripping over your tongue saying it when you're introducing yourself or giving your elevator speech, think about what that commonly used name can be, how it sounds, repeat it over, listen to it, and then once you start using it, use it consistently. Just for an example, I don't want to pick on you, Alex, but I will. I've heard marine oil. I've heard marine oil technology. I've heard MOT. I've heard MOT. From you, from staff, from us, because we have confusion. Your clients, the marketplace, will have confusion if you are not consistent with your own name. That's number one. Tip number two. I found this when putting together the program for the expo. So many of our companies, the client companies, our exhibitors, our sponsors, we use a combination, PortTechLA, of uppercase and lowercase, spaces or no spaces. When somebody else wants to use your name, what do? We go to the website. If your website lists it 4 different ways, there's no consistency, your client's not going to be consistent. Real simple thing, but just go through all your documentation. If you use upper and lowercase in a unique way, make sure it's consistent all the way through. If you use spacing, same thing. Number 3, acronyms. A really, really common thing to do is just automatically go from your long name to straight to the acronym, IBM, but we're not all IBM. And it takes a long time for a company to go to that point where the acronyms are understood and recognized. But not only that,
KFC.
There you go. How long did it take before they went from Kentucky Fried Chicken to KFC? But especially if you are thinking about really growing your business and thinking internationally, those acronyms are not going to mean the same thing to everybody. So a real simple thing, go over onto acronymfinder.com and just see. I don't use SPI for specific image for my company because of this. but I just did a check yesterday when I was putting this presentation together. 125 different uses of the acronym SPI. MOT, 50. And some of them might be actually kind of detrimental in a mindset to what you expect them to be. So really use that with caution. A real simple one for web use is go ahead and if domain names are available and out there that are similar to yours with dashes without, .com, .net, .info, .biz, it doesn't cost a lot to buy it, and it is kind of a company security in protecting your branding assets. So somebody else isn't going to take a website with a real similar sounding name and have a completely different company and different image. Okay, the logo. Again, just kind of thinking about what you have as your current logo. I'm assuming everybody's in the business, they have a logo, but take a look at it. If it was designed by your nephew in high school, hand-drawn and published, it might be time to polish it up a bit. If it is overly complex, that might be another time. If you're using stock art, you're not going to be able to trademark it. Think about it again, confusion in the marketplace. Those are all times to start thinking about maybe changing your logo, but assuming that's not the case and that you have a logo, just real simple tip. Create variations in an all black, all white. So if you're sponsoring an event, you're putting it through a fax machine, whatever the case, that the logo is still going to be recognizable and viable. Make sure that you have your logo available for both print and web formats. So it would be the EPS, which is a scalable format, so when you resize, you're not going to lose quality. And then just have these on hand in your library, so when somebody says, when I call you up and say, Steve, I need EchoPass logo so I can put it on the website and I can put it in there, you just have it available and ready to go. If your logo is more complex, just think about creating a minimalist version. I don't know if everybody knows what a favicon is, but those are the tiny little 16 by 16 pixels image that when you pull up on the web, it will show on the address line. How about the little icons on Facebook or Twitter or so on? Sometimes a very large logo, a complex logo, is not going to work. So there might be a part of it, a symbol, that you can pull from your larger logo to use in those instances and establish recognition. Okay, so the taglines and the slogans. Again, this is the part where you start getting a little bit away from the nuts and bolts and really start bringing through the intangibles. This is where you're evoking the emotion. You're painting a picture in somebody's mind. You're projecting maybe your company values. S.C. Johnson, a family company. Think about it in those ways, about emotion, painting a picture, projecting values, describing benefits. And then, as far as the tip, just connect it. You could create your logo with the tagline below to use in certain instances. You could, as at the base of your letterhead, put the company name, colon, a family company. Put it in as a meta title in your website, so it will show up on the address line like S.C. Johnson does. Tagline and slogans, tip number 9, is something that you can change from time to time. And you're going to think about this as something to kind of review on a yearly basis. Is that tagline still relevant to what you do as a company? When you have a pivot point, maybe that tagline, maybe your product has changed. Maybe the approach of your company has changed, and maybe that's the point where you're going to change your tagline. Toyota is just now changing from moving forward to let's go places. I don't know if anybody of you have even noticed that one yet.
Seems like Coca-Cola changes theirs about every 5 years.
And sometimes it does, yeah. And some of them will be also using different taglines. Like if you are, if you have a big part of your company is to have a corporate social responsibility, so you are, as part of your systematic approach is to donate to charitable or be involved in socially responsible things, you might have a separate tagline just for that part of it. Toyota does it, and, you know, I mean, they've been going with their 100 Cars for Good program, and they use that as part of their tagline that's specifically for that portion of their corporation. And you can also do it connecting to products. So if you have different product lines, that's a way of using separate taglines to really focus on product categories. And then fonts, colors, images. This is the part, this is where you're starting to embellish and add to and fill out your, at least your visual image of your brand, okay? And so these elements are really the visual equivalent of your tagline. So when you think about fonts, well, okay, the very simple thing with fonts, pick two and use them over and over, a title font and a text font. If nothing else, it's that really that simple. Use them always on your letterhead and in your letters. Use them in your documentation for PowerPoint. Use them in your emails. Even that will help brand, will help with your identity. Colors, same way. So you're going to also, and so the tip for this one is define colors, define fonts for both print and web, and just create a sheet that says, okay, here's my codes for my print colors, here's my codes for my text colors for web, and you're done. And last but not least is create templates. Just make yourself that much more efficient, make it that much simpler to use. Don't reinvent the wheel every time you give a presentation or send out an e-blast. Pull up a template, and if you have employees, set that template all the way through so that everybody's using those same fonts, those same colors, the logo in the same way, and so on. And that's it.